Hey, Joe, how are you?
Good to see you, buddy.
It's very nice to see you. This is, it's a hell of a setup.
Thank you.
I'm like in Austin, Texas. I've been here about 18 hours, and it's, 5 stars on TripAdvisor so far.
Did you do a set last night?
I didn't do a set, but I went to the club.
Yeah?
And the club it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
It's almost like someone with an unlimited budget built a comedy club. That's what it felt like, Joe. I don't know if your business manager has a view on this.
Yeah,
I think something along the lines
I'm not good at taking advice.
Yeah, but it's so great. It's so set up from the comic's point of view.
Yeah.
It's like no food.
Yeah.
No food is a great choice.
Yeah, you can't have food.
Yeah, people can eat
before.
afterwards. Yeah,
eat after, eat before. There's so many places to eat on 6th Street. There's a nice pizza place right next door.
Your neighbors are going to love you as well, because it's that thing, if you go, it creates a bit of a community, and it's full. It's like packed with people, and it's kind of, it's phenomenal. Great space.
Well, it's one of those Kevin Costner things, you know, you build it, they will come, from the Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Well, it feels kind of bigger than that as well, in terms of, you've come out here, and what are you giving back?
Yeah.
And comedy's given you everything, as it has me, and you go, well, what can you give back? What can you do for your community? And it feels like that's a great thing to do.
Well, it also seemed like I kind of had to do it, because when I moved here, I had this idea that I'd just be able to like do whatever local spots I could and then go on the road. And I kind of could. But one of the things that I've realized is that comics need community. It's very important. And that's one of the things that we really had at the Comedy Store that made the Comedy Store so special, is that it wasn't just that it was a great place to work and come up with new material and work on it, but it was also a great place to meet other people that were doing the same thing.
It's interesting, comedy as opposed to acting.
Yeah.
You know that thing? Alan Havey said this great thing to me. He said, comedians, we're out for ourselves, but in it together. I thought, it's really interesting, that thing of like going, everyone's doing their own things. Comedy is not like acting. It's not a zero-sum game.
Right.
So you doing your thing, no matter how successful you are, has no impact on my thing. If anything, you pull me up.
Yes.
So comedy becomes like a bigger thing. If someone does fantastically and they're playing hockey arenas, then more people are pulled up through the clubs and the theaters into the arenas.
Sure.
It feels like we're living in a golden age for comedy. It feels to me like this is what it must have felt like to work in music or movies in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like there's something culturally going on with comedy where it feels like it's got a value that's, people need it. People need to go out and feel like they're part of a community. And I suppose when you think about what we're doing on stage, it is pretty special. We're letting people into our minds and we go into their bodies.
Yeah.
We're possessing them. We change their physical state. It's extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. It really is like a drug. You're giving people a happy drug.
Well, it's the endorphin, because you don't quite know when the punch is coming, and then the serotonin of laughter.
Yeah.
And the live experience as well. It's like the live experience is so incredible for comedy, even as opposed to music, because what you get when you go out to a comedy club, well, you'll laugh 30 times more than watching the footage. And really, and props to Netflix. Netflix have been part of the reason comedy's having this golden age. But you go watching something on screen is like, that's how you find out what you want to go and see live.
Yeah, and live is so much better.
Because physically, it gets you in a different way. And you see people kind of coming, their body language changes, their whole, and they get into this state with the performer. They breathe with the performer. They roll with it. And it's so immersive. And you don't remember a word of what the comedian said, but you remember how they made you feel.
Yeah, there's also this shared experience of being there with other people that really feels good for people when you're laughing with a bunch of people.
Especially in a world where the individual has become sacrosanct and the tribe has been left to the side, and people want to feel a bit tribal. They want to feel like they're part of something. Why do people want to go to music festivals and South by Southwest and Glastonbury, and they want to go and see a comedy show? They want to be in a room in 1,000 people that all have the same sense of humor, and feel a bit bonded.
Yeah,
nice.
For sure. Yeah, there's that, and there's also with our art form, it's uniquely coming from one person. Where it's, unless you're a singer-songwriter, there's really not, or an author. Those are like probably the only other people. Any other mass form of entertainment that you're seeing a lot of different people collaborating, which is good, like in a film. You have to have that. But there's something about an individual's perspective and someone going, what the fuck is this? And
it's I mean, for me, that thing of, stand-up is naturally progressive. for me, it's like stand-up is about, there's an Overton window about what, that theory of the Overton window, what is and what isn't acceptable to talk about publicly.
Right.
And comedy is always pushing the edge of that. Not just edgy comedy. I do quite edgy stuff. It's not about being edgy particularly. Even someone doing observational stuff, Seinfeld saying the world is crazy, nothing makes any sense, this is ridiculous. He says the thing and it pushes, or someone talking about their relationships and their kids, it pushes what's acceptable to talk about in everyday life further.
Yeah.
And it expands that window. And so we have more open, meaningful conversations. Like you go and see a comedy show, you have a much more interesting chat afterwards. You go to comedy on a date night, it becomes like a more interesting conversation because something the guy said sparks something. It pushes the conversation. It's naturally progressive.
Yeah, it is. And also in this day and age, it's one of the rare places where you can hear people speak freely about controversial subjects. And in my club, we lock up the phone so they're not self-conscious, and they're also not distracted. And then you don't have to worry about people filming clips.
It is weird, isn't it? The locking up the phones is such an interesting point because that's what people want.
Yeah.
They want that boundary of going, I'm in a live.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of people that you would watch your favorite show. You'd watch, I don't know, whatever you like Game of Thrones or an MMA fight or whatever. And if you have your phone near you, there's a temptation to check the news and refresh and see what's going on and to ruin the experience for yourself. But somehow being out in public, like, you're aware, like it's performative being in a crowd. Like we're not the only ones performing at a comedy club or in a theatre. The audience are performing. People, how you doing? Like you ask an audience, how you doing? And they go, yay! Well, no one says that one-on-one. No one's ever said, hey, how you doing, Joe? Yeah! You sound psychotic.
Right.
But in an audience, it's entirely acceptable to be that person, to dance and to clap along. You'd look strange listening to a band play live and just standing and listening, and not dancing in the crowd,
right? And
that thing about going, well, it's performative being in the audience. Don't think you're the only one performing. They're all with you. They're all the laughter is you're signaling. It doesn't mean that it's fake laughter, but you're signaling to other people that you got it, and you're applauding when you kind of agree a little bit.
Yeah,
there's a rhythm to it. Being in an audience is a performance, and it's so fun to do.
Yeah, it is. It's my favorite thing to watch still. After all these years, I watched Christina Pazitsky last night. It was awesome.
Was it fantastic?
Oh, she's so funny. But it's fun. It's fun to laugh. It's fun to see someone's writing and see like where they're going with ideas. And
it's also the same and totally different. It's a guy on stage with a mic, girl on stage with a mic, and it just... What's he doing with this? It's a totally different thing. It's that self-authored thing. I mean, the thing I'm working on at the moment, I'm slightly jealous of the club. I'll be honest. I sort of saw the club last night. I'm like, this is quite something to do, to set up a club and to have that community, and it's great. And I think that I'm working at the moment on I don't know whether it's a book or whether it's I think it might be like an online course